ঠাকুর গৌরর প্রেমে আর বলিব যে কাজের তরে এনেছিলে নাথ জগতে আমরে কি আর বলিব যে কাজের তরে এনেছিলে নাথ জগতে আমরে এতদিন পরে কহিতে সে কথা এতদিন পরে কহিতে সে কথা কেঁদে দুঃখে হই সারা কেঁদে দুঃখে হই সারা প্রেমের ঠাকুর গৌরা প্রাণের ঠাকুর গৌরা তোমার ভজনে ন জন্মিল রতি জরা মহে মতো সদা দূরমতি তোমার ভজনে ন জন্মিল রতি জরা মহে মতো সদা দূরমতি বিষয়ের কাছে থেকে থেকে বিষয়ের কাছে থেকে থেকে আমি হইল বিষয় পারা হইল বিষয় পারা প্রেমের ঠাকুর গৌরা প্রেমের ঠাকুর আমি কেন যে এসেছি রে কানে সে কত কখনো নাহি ভাবি মনে কে আমি কেন যে এসেছি রে কানে সে কত কখনো নাহি ভাবি মনে কখনো ভোগের কখনো ত্যাগের কখনো কখনো ত্যাগের চলনায় মান নাচে চলনায় মান নাচে প্রেমের ঠাকুর গৌরা প্রাণের ঠাকুর গৌরা প্রেমের ঠাকুর গৌরা গতি হইবে কখনো ভাবি না হরিব কতের কাছে যাই না গতি হইবে কখনো ভাবি না হরিব কতের কাছে যাই না হরিবি মুখের কুলপন যত আমাতে সবর আছে আমাতে সবর আছে শ্রী গুরু কৃপায় ভেঙ্গে প্রাণের ঠাকুর গৌর প্রেমের ঠাকুর প্রাণের ঠাকুর ফটকিরে তুমি কৃপা করো নাকি জগাই মাদাই ছিল যে পাতকি ফটকিরে তুমি কৃপা করো নাকি জগাই মাদাই ছিল যে পাতকি তাহাতে জেনেছে প্রেমের ঠাকুর পটকের ধারণী পটকের ধারণী বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর গৌরা প্রেমের ঠাকুর প্রেমের ঠাকুর গৌরা Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura Gaura O Gaura, Lord of Prem, what shall I tell you of the sufferings of my life, O Master? I have lost my true self. What more shall I say, O Lord, after so long, to speak of the purpose for which you brought me to the world? I become weary with lamentation and sorrow. Attachment to bhajan of you has not awakened within me. I am intoxicated by the mundane and the illusory, and my intelligence is always wicked. By remaining your sense enjoyers, I have become just like them. Who am I? Why have I come here? My mind never ponders these questions. Sometimes enjoying and sometimes renouncing, my mind only dances in bewilderment. I never contemplate what my outcome will be. I do not even go near the devotees of Hari. All the inauspicious symptoms of one who opposes Hari are within me. By Shri Guru's grace, my illusory dream has been broken. I now understand that you alone are mine, and that your associates are my greatest friends in this prison house of material existence. I will not worship anything besides the feet of your devotees. I have taken shelter of the crimson soles of your lotus feet. O Lord, rescue me from Maya's entangling net by pulling the serpent by the hair. Do you not deliver the sinners? Jagai and Madai were sinners, and you delivered them. So, Lord of Prem, I know that it's true. You do indeed deliver the sinners like myself. I am devoid of bhakti, wretched and destitute. Place both your lotus feet upon the head of this offender. At your beautiful feet, which instill fearlessness, I take eternal shelter.
Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande.
It should be on. It only works in both of them.
Oh.
Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Oh Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Manamanasa Madhukara Arpayam Japadam Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Manamanasa Madhukaram Arpayati Japadam Amrutajavakarande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Yadyapi samadhishu vidirapi pashyati nathavanatha brahmariche. Yadyapi samadhishu vidirapi pashyati nathavanatha brahmariche. Idamichari nishamyatavachuta Tadapi Kripadbhuta Viche. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Bhakti Rudani Shakti Yadyapi Madhava Nathai Mamati Lamati. Bhakti Rudani Shakti Yadyapi Madhava Nathai Mamati Lamati. Parameshwarata Kadapi Tamadika Durgata Gatana Vikatri. Parameshwarata Kadapi Tamadika Krishna Deva Bhavanta Bande Manamaya Samadhukaram Arpayam Nijapada Bhattaja Makarande Krishna Deva Bhavanta Bande Krishna Deva Bhavanta Bande I am a Vinoda Yadya Sanatana Kalita Buddha Rasa Bhara Oh, I am a Vinoda Yadya Sanatana Kalita Buddha Rasa Bhara Vivasatu Nityam Vihamritam Indini Vindan Madhuri Sara Krishna Deva Bhavanta Bande Krishna Deva Bhavanta Bande Manamana Samadhikara Arpayam Nijapada Bhattaja Makarande Krishna Deva Bhavanta Bande Krishna Deva Bhavanta Bande Krishna 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 Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jai Tera Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jai Tera Gokula Tarani Mandala Mohite Gokula Mandala Mohite Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jai Damodara Rasi Vardhana Veshe Hari Veshe Hari Nishuta Davi Dineshe Tamodara Jayo Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Jai Tera Vrishabhanu Tati Navashashine Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishate Oh Vrishabhanu Tati Navashashine Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishate Jaya Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Jai Tera Jaya Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Jai Tera Karuna Gurumai Karuna Bharite Sanata Sanatana Varnita Charite Oh Karuna Gurumai Karuna Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Jaya Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Jai Tera Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Shiva Gurudev. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Shila Prabhupada. Oh, Param Gurudev, Param Gurudev, Param Gurudev, Param Gurudev. Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva. Jaya Bhakti Pragyan Shiva Krishna Goswami, Bhakti Pragyan Shiva Krishna Goswami. Jaya Bhakti Pragyan Shiva Krishna Goswami, Bhakti Pragyan Shiva Krishna Goswami. Jai Guru Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Jai Guru Premanande. सचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय, श्री नित्यानंद महाजन की जय, श्री पंच तत्व की जय, हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्री रूपानुगा गुरुवर्ग की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमां वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति रक्षक श्रीधर गोस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय राधिकायै प्रियात्मने श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत नारायणीति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय आचार्य सिंह रूपिणे श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशवायति नामिने। अतिमर्त्य चरित्राय स्वाश्रितानां च पालने जीव दुःखे सदर्ताय श्री नाम प्रेम दायने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती इति नामिने। नमो गौर किशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्य मूर्तये विप्रलम्बर सांबुधे पदाम्बुजाय ते नमः। नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामिने गौर शक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय ते गुराविर्भाव भूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्ट सज्जन प्रिय वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Everyone together. Namo Mahavajanaaya Krishna Premaya Te Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Trishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostu Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Kartikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna. On this auspicious occasion, the transcendental appearance day of our Param Guru Dev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Astatarajata Sri Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj. I'm praying at his lotus feet, at the lotus feet of my divine beloved Guru Dev Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Astatarajata Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I pay my Dandavat pranams to all of my Sri Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga and to all of the Vaishnavis. Has appeared in, there are so many all the extraordinary activities that took place in his life, which clearly indicated to his parents that this boy was not an ordinary. Everything about him was extraordinary. His moods, his nature, his behavior, everything about him. So we were very fortunate to hear his glories and devotional offerings of the heart from our Gurudev Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Maharaj on many occasions, his disappearance day and appearance day, to hear his moods of devotion to his Guru Maharaj. And not only that, but to travel with him all over the world. And when he would say his pranams to his Guru Maharaj, each and every time, it was with, you could feel a little bit quieter, not so loud. You could feel that his moods were so deep, and his moods of dedication. We also know the story of how our Gurudev, Srila Narayan Maharaj, came to the lotus feet of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. We also know the story of how Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, when he was Vinod Bihari, and he came first to meet Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The first time in Gaur Purnima time, with his two aunties, Srimati Sarojini Devi and I forget the name of the other. These were his aunties. And they were already disciples of Prabhupada. And the Gaudiya Math had barely just started. So there were very few brahmacharis and so forth. And at that time, during those festivities, Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati began to speak about how there will be temples. We will have temples in all 9 islands of Navadvip. We will be printing, thousands and lakhs of transcendental literatures, which will be distributed everywhere. And then, upon hearing this, then Sarojini Devi, his auntie, then she said, "Oh, Prabhupada, now you have barely enough brahmacharis to ring the bell during the artik. So, can you explain to us how this will happen? That these extraordinary activities will take place?" And then he just looked at this beautiful young new brahmachari and he said, "Vinod will do all." And actually, that came to pass, that he did all. He was the most intimate servitor of Srila Prabhupada, right from the very beginning. And the stories about his life, I just want to tell one little incident. When he was very tiny, like a baby, then his mother put him in the courtyard. Sometimes the Bengali mothers, they like to put oil on the baby's body and lay him out there in front of the sun like this. And what happened at that moment was a very large bird. I don't know what kind of a bird, but it was a very large bird. It swooped down, picked up the child, and took him up into the air. Now, can you imagine if that happened to your baby? You would be screaming and yelling and freaking out. So they were all like looking at the bird and what will happen. And then the bird just came very slowly and placed the child again there and flew away. What was this to indicate? Not an ordinary activity. Not ordinary. Such symptoms can only come from great, great personalities. When Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, of course he wasn't yet in the Gaudiya Math, but he was going to school, young age, probably around 12 years, like that. And in his school, he formed a small group of fellow classmates who, and they even gave it a name, something regarding doing special charity work. And what they did was, they would save up and they would pool together some coins that were given to them for their lunch by their parents. And then, after the school hours, they would go and they would tend to persons who were ailing, very poor individuals, suffering individuals, ladies who were widows, etc. And they would do this kind of activity. So, you know that Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, he took birth in a very wealthy family in Bangladesh. And they were landowners. So from his childhood, he was brought up with so much opulence and also his mother kind of took the role of the upbringer because his father passed away early. And she was very strict. So one day, Vinod did not come home at the usual time. And then the hours went by. And then it became late in the evening. And then finally he came home. His mother was standing at the doorway waiting for him with a stick. And she expressed to him, "Where have you been? Why have you come back so late?" And then with a very innocent look on his face, he says, "Oh, my dear mother, I and my class friends, we have been taking care of one widowed lady, very elderly widowed lady, who contracted the disease cholera. So we arranged that she would have medicine, food, facilities, everything. And I have been there since the end of my school day, looking after her." So when his mother heard this, the stick dropped from her hand. She embraced him. "I will never again deal with you in such a manner." So this is the nature. In his pranam mantra, what is the first line again? Acharya Singharupane Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshavijaya Iti Namane Ati Martya Charitraya Svasrita Nanchapalane Jiva Dukke Sadartaya Shri Nama Prema Dayane. Ati Martya Charitraya means unworldly, transcendental character, qualities. Ati Martya Charitraya Svasrita Nanchapalane. Those who could take shelter of his lotus feet, they received absolute shelter. Those who were ashrita, that wanted ashraya, they wanted to have shelter at his lotus feet. Jiva dukke sadartaya. His heart was always feeling so much concern, so much worry for all the suffering jivas. Jiva dukke sadartaya. And Sri Nama Prema Pradayani. He is the giver of praying Nam to the jivas. So, after he was grown to a certain age, then he left his studies at school. He did not consider that they were of any great importance. And he came under the shelter of Prabhupada and began to live in the Gaudiya Math. At that time, the brahmacharis had a system of going out for begging, because that is the role of brahmachari, is to go and beg on behalf of Guru. So they had a system where they had a small wooden box, and it had a slit in the box which was only big enough that you could fit 1 paisa in it, not more. And their duty was to take this box to the train stations, to the public places, wherever, and approach people and preach to them about the Gaudiya Math and the preaching mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and so forth. And then they would request them, please give 1 paisa. That was a very small amount, 1 paisa, or maybe it was even 1 anna, because they had divisions of paisas in those days. Yeah, I think it was, because you could buy so much for 1 paisa. You could actually rent a place for two paisa for the whole month. So paisas had divisions. So the smallest division of that, anyway. And why were they doing like this? Because this is the duty of the brahmacharis, and to go and to preach the message, and to ask some energy from each recipient of their message. So one day, Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was driving by in a car. And of course that was very revolutionary at that time, that sadhus would ride in cars, they would wear shoes, they would cross the oceans for preaching. These were things that were forbidden for the sannyasis and sadhus of the Vedic era. But Srila Prabhupada broke all of those, stereotypes. He broke all of them. And anyway, he was driving by a field, and the field, there was a tree, and underneath the tree was lying Vinod Bihari Brahmachari. And he had his head against that wooden box, and he was resting in the middle of the very intense heat of the afternoon. When Srila Prabhupada saw that, tears rolled down his eyes. What kind of sacrifice he is doing. He has grown up in a very wealthy family, all facilities, and now he is doing this very austere service. So, there are many very famous historical events by which Vinod Bihari Brahmachari served Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur so expertly. And therefore he was even given the name Kriti Ratna. You know what that means? It means the jewel of performers of extraordinary activities. Kriti Ratna. So we can recount a couple of these historical events. So one of them was that there was problems with the Muslim community at that time, because the Muslims had occupied certain places. For example, Chandkazi Samadhi, which was a Gaudiya Vaishnava site that they occupied. Chandrasekhar Bhavan, which later became the Chaitanya Math, that location, Chandrasekhar Bhavan. Srivas Angan. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada wanted to acquire all of these places. And so the one incident took place that at the Chandrasekhar Bhavan, there was also a cemetery that had the graves of various Muslims who had died. So it was kind of like a Muslim graveyard. And there was some legal issue which was pending, that the ownership should be transferred to the Gaudiya Math. So, but there was a problem because the Muslims were insisting, no, we have our graves there. You cannot take that property. So what did Vinod Bihari Brahmachari do? At that point in time, he was already managing the entire Gaudiya Maths. He was responsible for that. He was even responsible for collecting the rentals and so forth, because he's the son of a landowner. So he was responsible for collecting the rents from the different tenants. And therefore he said, I need one horse. And he would ride on horseback, and wherever he would go, then the people would, oh, okay. They would pay attention. He's come. So now in this case, Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, he had a plan. So the plan was that now we will, at nighttime, we will dig up all of these graves and throw everything into the Ganga. Then we will cover over with land, and then we will also bring already grown various types of plants and so forth to make it look exactly like there was no graveyard here. So the next day, the very next day, the Muslims came and they looked like that, and then they reported to the police. And then the police came, and the police saw, what are you talking about? Graveyard? No, this is a garden, it's very obvious. This has been here for so long time. So in that way, the Muslims were defeated. You know. So another extraordinary incident was that Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, of course there's the extraordinary story of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur coming at the moment when he left his body here in Navadvip. And there was groups of Babajis and so forth standing around the body. And they were preparing to do what they said was his request, that his body should be tied with rope and dragged throughout the streets of Navadvip Dham in the dust. Oh, he wanted that, they're saying. So who came on the scene at that moment? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came there. And he stopped all of them. And he told them, I am the only disciple of Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and it is my duty to take his transcendental body. And you all, what you are desiring to do, this is very, very evil and very full of offense, to try to take the body, the transcendental body of my Guru Maharaj, and drag through the streets. So, if any of you dare to touch the body of my Guru Maharaj, you'll be absolutely destroyed. Here's the criterion. If any of you have not had affair, illicit affair with a woman in the past 1 year, then you can come forward and touch the body of my Guru Maharaj. Nobody came forward. If any of you have not had illicit affair in the last month, then you can come forward and touch the body of my Guru Maharaj. Nobody stepped forward. If you had not had in the last week, no one stepped forward. If you did not have in the last day, no one stepped forward. Then Srila Prabhupada took the transcendental body of Gaurkishore Das Babaji and arranged for his samadhi ceremony and burial on the side, on the Navadvip side of the Ganga. But what later happened, after some years, as we know, it's a very common occurrence during the rainy season. It can happen any year, at any time, that suddenly flooding comes, massive flooding. So that was beginning to take place, and therefore Srila Prabhupada became very worried. He already had established the Chaitanya Mat on that side of the Ganga. He had already established that. So he was so worried that the samadhi of his Guru Maharaj would be inundated by the floods and would be completely ruined. So, knowing this, Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, he made an arrangement. And this, to do something like this required engineering, understanding, skill, this, that. So what did he do? He brought different workmen and they dug up the entire grave, like a big, huge block of earth, 10 foot by 10 foot, with the body, the remnants of the body of Srila Gaura Das Babaji. They lifted that up and somehow or other were able to transfer that onto a couple of bullock carts, maybe like 3 bullock carts all tied together. Then, to transfer that, without cranes, without modern equipment, nothing, to transfer that to the bank of the Ganga, and there to transfer onto 3 boats that were all tied together, bring it across the Ganga, again put it on bullock carts and bring it to Sri Chaitanya Mat. When Vinod Bihari Brahmachari accomplished that, then Srila Prabhupada was very, very pleased, very happy. We also know one of the most famous incidents that took place is that in Navadvip and the surrounding areas, Srila Prabhupada's preaching was becoming felt very deeply in the hearts of the Sahajiyas, of the Smarta Brahmanas, and all the bogus so-called Pandas who were receiving donations and in the various temples. And because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had broken this mold that was existing, that no one can be given Diksha unless they are coming from a Brahmin family, Brahmin birth. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you can hear about how his preaching was disturbing all these personalities. And he was completely crushing their bogus philosophies and exposing them. So, they decided that they wanted this to stop. And so they had a plan that they executed during it was 1925, the Navadvip Parikrama of 1925. There were about 5,000 pilgrims and they were all marching, and the deity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was placed on the back of an elephant in the procession. There were 100 mridanga drums and so many kirtaniyas. And this grand procession during the Navadvip Parikrama was coming right here where Paramatala, Prodhamatala, the center there with the Lord Shiva's temple and Yogamaya temple. So as they came to that intersection, suddenly from all directions in the rooftops, broken glass bottles, very sharp rocks, bricks, started pelting down from the sky. Thousands of them. Thousands of these objects. And naturally, like if somebody is going to be punched in the face, automatically he will put up his hands to try to stop that. So that's the natural tendency of somebody in such a situation. And naturally everybody scattered. But Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, who was walking right next to Srila Prabhupada holding his danda, then suddenly, with very quick intelligence, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he told about this incident. How it was so astonishing that he was to use he actually knew that there was a particular house where there was a well-wisher of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and within a few moments, shielding Srila Prabhupada, he brought him into that house and closed the door behind. And once he was in that house, what did he do? He said, Prabhupada, give me your sannyas dress. I will take that. and I will pose as if I am you. You take my white cloth, and I will send you back to safety in Mayapur. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he gave his danda, he gave his sannyas dress, and Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, at the risk of his life, stayed there for the next few hours as they brought Srila Prabhupada to safety. So all the brahmacharis, sannyasis, all the members of the Gaudiya Math at that time, they understood what an incredible Guru Nishta, fearless, absolute sacrifice of his life he was willing to do for Srila Prabhupada. So, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, there's a very interesting statement made by Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj. I want to read that in his Katha, which I get daily by email. So all right. So this is a subsection titled Exposing an Incompetent Leader. And this is talking about just after the disappearance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. So after the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the time came to select a new president Acharya of the Gaudiya Math. And Guru Maharaj, meaning Bhakti Doyata Madhav Goswami Maharaj, he believed that Sri Srimad Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Goswami Maharaj to be the worthiest candidate. So if you've heard any of the histories, he was one of the senior most and exalted. He was actually a disciple of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, even initiated by him. And such a stalwart preacher. So he considered like that. And not just him, not just Bhakti Doyata Madhav Maharaj, but others also. They considered that he was the worthiest candidate for this election to Acharyaship. However, in due time, Sri Ananta Vasudev Prabhu was unanimously appointed to the position, with Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari serving as secretary. Now when Sri Ananta Vasudev Prabhu's ill repute came to light, then Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari called for Guru Maharaj and said, now, what is the ill repute? We're not going to repeat it. That's a story that most of the senior devotees have heard, but it was certainly extremely degraded, what took place. So at that time, when it became apparent that his ill repute came to light and everybody learned about it, so then Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari called for Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Doyata Madhav Maharaj, and he said, Hayagriva Prabhu, we have stuck our hands in wet stool. Had it been dry, it would not have been so revoltingly foul-smelling. But unfortunately, the reality is that its stench and its repulsiveness are excessive. We must feel remorse and atone for having supported Ananta Vasudeva and for having taken so long to understand what was actually going on. An incompetent person should be helped, but an incompetent person who makes fools of the general public by playing the part of a competent leader, he must be shunned. Let us help the people of the world by exposing this person so that everyone may see his true nature. Because of your refined, gentle Vaishnava temperament, he's talking to Hayagriva Prabhu, who later became Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. He said, because of your refined, gentle Vaishnava temperament, everyone considers you a friend. And everyone gives importance to what you say. So therefore, please bring everyone together and arrange a meeting so that we may together determine how to oppose him. So as per Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari's request, Guru Maharaj gathered their godbrothers together and held a meeting whereupon it was decided to file a court case against Sri Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu. It was this court case that made it possible for the Gaudiya Math to legally split into two factions. Then there's a little bit of history also about his brother, Vinod Bihari Brahmachari's brother. So Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari's preaching inspired his elder brother to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and to join the Math. And when Srila Prabhupada ordered his brother to accept sannyas, he was unwilling. Although Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari was younger, he chastised his older brother, saying, "Why are you not fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's desire to give you sannyas?" After considering these words of encouragement, his brother agreed to accept sannyas, and he became known as Sri Srimad Bhakti Kevala Audolomi Goswami Maharaj. Sometime after the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj observed Srila Audolomi Goswami Maharaj and his followers deviating from the teachings of Srila Prabhupada in three ways. Number one, they taught that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not to be chanted loudly, but rather silently in such a way that no one can hear the sound vibration. Number two, although Srila Prabhupada had personally initiated some of his disciples, including Srila Audolomi Goswami Maharaj, into the sannyas order, they gave up their saffron sannyas vesh. And instead, they wore white Babaji vesh, preaching that sannyas dharma is strictly prohibited in Kali Yuga. Number three, although Srila Prabhupada personally established Sri Navadi Parikrama, they rejected its performance. So unable to tolerate even the slightest deviation from Srila Prabhupada's teachings, Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj completely severed his relationship with Sri Audolomi Goswami Maharaj and those who followed him. He would never allow his disciples to go to Bagh Bazar Gaudiya Math or to any other place where Srila Audolomi Goswami Maharaj and his followers resided. If Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj were to discover that one of his disciples went to Sri Audolomi Maharaj's Math, he would order that devotee to fast for 3 days, taking only panchagavya. You know what that is? It's the 5 products from the cow. Milk, yogurt, ghee, dung, and urine. And that would be his atonement, taking only that for 3 days. He would say, "Why have you gone there? You are now impure. You must purify yourself by performing this atonement." So finally, Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj decided to file a case against Srila Audolomi Goswami Maharaj and his followers, boldly announcing that because they did not accept many of Srila Prabhupada's teachings, they could not be considered his true disciples, and consequently should not be allowed to reside in his maths. That's the court case. My Guru Maharaj, Sri Srimad Bhakti Doyata Madhav Goswami Maharaj, he gave me the service of transcribing Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj's dictations regarding the court case. I would then take those dictations to Sri Srimad Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, who would adjust the language and edit for clarity. And when everything was complete, I would go to the court and I would submit the finalized documents. Now the day that the judge was to present the verdict, Srila Odalomi Goswami Maharaj and his followers appeared in court wearing saffron sannyas vesh, and they were followed by a large procession loudly chanting the Mahamantra that Srila Odalomi Goswami Maharaj had given 8 people sannyas just that day. So in front of the judge they said, "We are doing Navadvip Dham Parikrama, wearing saffron dress and carrying our sannyas dandas. Also we have established a mutt in the name of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and have established his murti, his deity form in the mutt, and we are constructing in Godrumadvip." Now although previously they had no plans of having a mutt in Srila Prabhupada's name or keeping his murti there, feeling threatened by the bold endeavors of Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, they named their mutt Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Gaudiya Mutt. They denied all the allegations put forth by Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, and they audaciously said, "Just see, we are chanting loudly, we are wearing sannyas dress, and we have named our mutt after Srila Prabhupada. How can he claim that we are not disciples of Srila Prabhupada?" Seeing this to be true, the judge awarded the decision in favor of Srila Odalomi Goswami Maharaj and his followers. Now it appeared as though Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj had been defeated, right? I pleaded, Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, I pleaded many of your, quote, many of your godbrothers were involved in building this case for a long time. And I also labored so much in transcribing your dictations, going to Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj for editing and providing information to the court. And now that we have lost the case, will you not appeal the judge's verdict? Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj replied, "We will proceed further only if they again go against Srila Prabhupada's teachings." He then asked, "How many punches can you tolerate?" I replied, "Not even a single punch. I would strongly object to being punched." Then Srila Maharaj asked, "And how many could you tolerate if your hands and legs were tied with ropes?" I replied, "I would be forced to tolerate however many were given." And then he said, "In the same way, whenever someone makes mistakes and goes against the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, we will bind their hands and beat them to our fullest capacity until they accept those teachings." He then explained, "My only desire was for them to again follow the line of Srila Prabhupada, and we see that they are now doing this. They are now wearing sannyas dress, awarding sannyas to others, and loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This was my objective. In this way, we were victorious. Our fight was not for anything other than establishing the proper Siddhanta and reconnecting them with Srila Prabhupada." So even now, Srila Bharati Maharaj comments, even now, all of Srila Odalomi Goswami Maharaj's followers and devotees of Bhagavazar Gaudiya Mutt accept sannyas, perform Navadvip Dham Parikrama, and loudly chant Mahamantra, and perform Harinam Sankirtan. This is all due to the mercy of Srila Keshava Goswami Maharaj. Now, yes, this is the story I just told about. Wait. Yes. He tells it in a much more colorful way than I told it. Okay. So this is a nice short story, which is titled, "We are not here to deal in real estate." We are not here for that. While Srila Prabhupada was physically present, Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari desired to buy a piece of Muslim-owned land adjacent to Srivas Angan, which was owned by Sri Chaitanya Mutt. The Muslim owners, however, refused to sell that land to Sri Chaitanya Mutt as they were envious of the organization's growing influence in Mayapur. So after some disagreements following Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari officially separated from Sri Chaitanya Mutt. He moved to Sri Navadvip Dham and he formed Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. And after accepting sannyas, he became known as Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. And after hearing of his recent departure from Sri Chaitanya Mutt, and in an attempt to sabotage the institution, the Muslim owners then became very happy to sell the land to Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj. As soon as the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mutt came to know that Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj had acquired that land, they broke its boundary wall and they claimed it to be part of their property. And when I mentioned this to Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, he laughed. And he said, "That is quite fine. When Srila Prabhupada was here, I wanted to purchase that land and take it from the Muslims. It irritated me that we owned all the surrounding property except for this small piece of land which was owned by people performing activities against bhakti. I did not purchase this land for my enjoyment, but for the service of Srila Prabhupada. There is no harm if Sri Chaitanya Mutt claims it. Rather, I am fortunate that they have taken it for the service of Srila Prabhupada." He then asserted, "We are not here to deal in real estate. Our only duty is to serve Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas." The next section, "We have not joined the Mutt to accrue property." So then a similar incident happened after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance. The devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mutt wanted to sell a property they owned that had a mango orchard. The property was at a place called Rautala in Sri Navadvip. Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, however, opposed the sale and he filed a court case against them. Being unable to use his own name to file the court case because he had been previously jailed due to false accusations made against him, he still filed it under the name of his godbrothers, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Ashram Goswami Maharaj and Sri Khagena Prabhu. So, however, when devotees from Sri Chaitanya Mutt came to testify in court, they insisted that they never intended on selling that property and that they had no intentions of selling it in the future. They also presented the court with a written statement to this effect. Then hearing this, the judge threw out the case and he noted in the record that the land will never be sold. So because I was extremely junior to Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, I initially possessed a respectful fear of him. And I never asked him any questions. But as I continued my daily transcription service with him, that fear gradually faded. And when I expressed my disappointment at losing the court case despite our best efforts and after incurring considerable debt, then Srila Keshav Goswami said, "You are very young. You cannot understand anything." I was puzzled by his reply. "I don't understand," I told him. He then explained, "Although legally it may seem that we have lost and that they have won, but in reality it is we who have won and they who have lost." And then this only confused me more. Again, I don't understand. How could we have won when the case was thrown out? Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj said, "Apparently, I have to be explicit for you to understand. Listen, we have not joined the Mutt to accrue property. This court case was not about land. It was about principle. This land belonged to Srila Prabhupada and he wanted it to be used for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. As a result of our court case, they have submitted a formal document to the court stating that they will never sell it." They are now bound by law to keep the land. Therefore, we have won and they have lost. Gaur Premanande. So you see, there's an entire huge book. He just bought this book the other day. That was written by our Gurudev, Acharya Keshari. If you haven't read that book yet, read it! Start today! You know why? Because our Gurudev, he told, directly, I heard it with my own ears, I have put everything in this biography. Everything. Gurudev was so proud of that biography that he produced. It's astonishing, actually. I remember way back, maybe it was around 2002 or 2003, I was in Miami. And I was at, what's his name, from Peru, Raghunath Prabhu's apartment on Miami Beach, which Gurudev used to stay in periodically. And there was a godbrother of mine, a Prabhupada disciple from ISKCON, who was doing some, what's that called? Not feng shui, the other. Vastu. He was doing. He came to the program that I had, which was Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj's, his, the same day as today, the same TT. Yeah, his appearance day. And I spoke and read so many things from Gurudev's big, huge, thick biography. And after the class, he came up to me, he said, I never heard. We've been in ISKCON all these years, and we never heard practically anything about this personality who gave sannyas to our Srila Prabhupada. Practically nothing we know about him, his life, anything. Only we heard, Prabhupada said he's a pure devotee, but that's it. And he was so appreciative to hear only a few of the glories that I was able to tell in that class. Gurudev wrote this book to tell the whole world who his Guru Maharaj is. And because we are in his line, we should read this book. You should be very embarrassed that you have not read this book yet, if you have not. Read it from cover to cover, and then you come back to me and you tell me what you think. Because you'll be astonished. You will be astonished. All the different sections of Gurudev's, Param Gurudev's biography are so filled with so much nectar, with so much praman, evidence, with so much siddhanta. Every single aspect of siddhanta is there. Gurudev, I remember when the book was first printed, I believe we were in Mathura at the time. Yeah, we were in Mathura. And Gurudev was in such a happy mood. And then he had a stack of the books that he had signed and he was giving out to a few of the devotees who had helped with the editing, And he was beaming. And then some years later, when I was in Russia, in Volgograd in 2004, the completion of the Russian translation of that biography was completed and the book was printed and they presented it to Gurudev. Gurudev was so happy. I remember Vaikanas Maharaj and I, we had a talk one time together, and we mutually shared a certain realization that we had about Gurudev and how to make Gurudev happy. If you want to make Gurudev happy, what's the quickest and best way to make him happy? Glorify his Guru Maharaj. Because when you do that, Gurudev becomes really happy. So, I'm going to read a few words from this biography. Here's a section, part 4, which is called the Rasik and Bhavuk Bhagavat. Rasik and Bhavuk Bhagavat. Paramaradhyatama, Srila Gurudev, was profoundly grave and sometimes harder than a thunderbolt, but he was also softer than a flower. He was highly expert in tasting spiritual mellows, rasika, and he always deeply immersed in ecstatic sentiments, bhavuka. He was harder than a thunderbolt towards those who were opposed to bhakti, such as the impersonal monists and the followers of pseudo-devotional sects, such as Smartas, Jati Goswamis, Jati Vaishnavas, Prakriti Sahajiyas, yet to sincere godbrothers and disciples who were steadily engaged in Guru Seva without duplicity, he was much softer than a flower. After Srila Prabhupada's entrance into Aprakat Leela, then Ananta Vasudev, Vidya Bhushan, and Sundarananda Vidya Vinod were influenced by undesirable association, and they became staunch opponents of Srila Prabhupada. Imagine that. Srila Gurudev's blood brother, Srimad Bhakti Kevala Audalomi Maharaj, followed in their footsteps. But Srila Gurudev vehemently opposed their ideas. Although Srimad Audalomi Maharaj was his brother and godbrother, Srila Gurudev objected to his ideas without compromise. And he said, I do not want to see the face of anyone who is opposed to Srila Guru Pada Padma. Audalomi Maharaj is my brother from my previous ashram, and in spiritual life he is my godbrother. Even so, from now on, I have no relationship or connection with him whatsoever. How does that sound to you? No relationship whatsoever to his elder brother. So when anyone opposed Jagat Guru Srila Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada's conceptions, Srila Gurudev would smash their objections to pieces by the strength of undisputed logic and steadfast scriptural evidence. And we will now present a few examples of how he was also bhavuk and rasik. Number one, during his manifest presence, Srila Guru Maharaj used to go to Sri Dham Mayapur every year at the time of Navadvip Dham Parikrama. He would begin to describe the glories of his most worshipful Gurudev at the place of his Gurudev's Samadhi, in the presence of thousands and thousands of faithful pilgrims. And on recollecting Srila Prabhupada's glorious and transcendental qualities, he would become so emotional that his throat would become choked, he would burst into tears, and all Ashta Sattvik Bhavs would be clearly visible on his body. Incapable of speaking any further, he would somehow indicate that we should say something. Next incident. Once Srila Gurudev was sitting on the veranda of his bhajan kuti at Sri Udaran Gaudiya Math in Chunchura, chanting Harinam. A few Matavasis were sitting near him, and he was explaining to us about the Madhur Bhakti of Braj. He said that only the Braj Ramanis are actual associates. Only the Braja Ramanis are actual associates, parikars, of Madhur Ras. And they are all in Parakya Bhav. And although there are many varieties of Vraja Ramanis, defined according to their different moods, still they are all Parakya Nayikas, Paramur heroines in Madhur Rasa. The Mahishis, or the queens of Dwarkapuri, Sri Ramchandraji's wife Sita Devi, and Mahalakshmi of Vaikuntha are not heroines in Madhur Ras. They are all maidservants in Dasya Ras. Have you heard that before? I haven't. This is what Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami is expressing. Actually, only the Brajaramanis are truly in Madhurya Ras. But these other personalities are maidservants in Dasya Ras. Now, in the course of this explanation, I, the author, meaning Srila Narayan Goswami Maharaj, I posed a question to him. That Rasa Acharya, Srila Rupa Goswami, has described 3 types of nayikas in the Ujjvala Nilamani. Namely, Sadharani, Samanjasa, and Samartha. Now, Kubja of Mathura is in the category of Sadharani. The queens of Dwarka, such as Rukmini and Satyabhama, are known as Samanjasa. And the Vraja Gopis are called Samartha. Among these heroines, the queens of Dwarka have been called associates in the Swakiya aspect of Madhurya Ras. And the Vrajaramanis have been called associates in the Parakiya aspect of Madhur Ras. So what harm, he's asking this question to his Guru Maharaj, so what harm is there in accepting Sita Devi and the queens of Dwarka to be associates of Swakiya Madhur Ras? Then Srila Gurudev replied, you do not have the capacity to assimilate these profound conceptions at present. This will not be accessible to you now, even if I tell you. Wherever there is affection, imbued with Aishwarya Bhav, or a mood of awe and reverence, then only Dasya Prem predominates. Again, wherever there is affection, imbued with Aishwarya Bhav, a mood of awe and reverence, then only Dasya Prem predominates. Pure Madhurya Prem is completely bereft of Aishwarya Bhav, and it appears to resemble the love between bosom friends in this world, Lokik Sambandhuvat. It appears to resemble that. The affection of Lakshmi, of Sitaji, and the queens of Dwarka for their respective Ishtadevas is imbued with the highest Aishwarya Bhav. They have no pure Madhurya Prem, and they are always in some Brahma Bhav, a mood of awe and reverence. Thus, although the affection or the priti of the Mahishis, it is somewhat more elevated than that of Dasya Bhaktas, such as Hanuman, Arjun, and Uddhav, but their Bhav cannot be called pure Madhurya Bhav. Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have presented a beautiful assessment of this subject in their respective commentaries. And this is why Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita has emphasized the special importance of Gopi Prem. Only when one has performed bhajan for some time under the guidance of pure Vaishnavas, only then can one realize these profound subject matters by their mercy. Next incident. Once, during the month of Kartik, Srila Gurupada Padma had brought his noble presents to Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Math. And one day he was sitting in his bhajan kuti and chanting Harinam, absorbed in transcendental emotions. I had sat down nearby and I was silently reading the chapter on Sri Damodar Bandhan from Sri Gopal Champu. Who wrote Gopal Champu? Jiva Goswami. So Gurudev is telling that when he was absorbed in his room, in his bhajan kutir, chanting Harinam, then he sat down silently nearby and was reading this chapter of what? Sri Damodar Bandhan Leela, where Krishna becomes bound by Mother Yashoda. And as I was reading, Gurudev says, I became so attracted to Sri Jiva Goswami's ideas, I could not check myself. Taking the book in my hand, I came right in front of Srila Gurudev and I said, in his time, Srila Jiva Goswami, he was a great Mahapurusha with immense knowledge of all philosophical principles. But yet, at the same time, he was also a transcendental Rasik poet. The combination of vast spiritual erudition with poetic artistry is extremely rare in this world. But when we read this episode of Damodar Bandhan Leela in Gopal Champu, we can see how Sri Jiva Goswami combined these two attributes in an astonishing way. Which two attributes? Rasa and Siddhanta. And then I began to read aloud from Gopal Champu for Srila Gurudev to hear. And I read the following. Yashoda Maya ran very quickly after Balakrishna, who had fled onto the main road. She caught him with one hand, she took a small stick in the other, and began to scold him. I'll give you such a beating. I know that you go from house to house stealing. You are a thief, you are chor. So then Krishna said in response, Oh Maya, don't beat me. No chor has ever appeared in my father's dynasty. They only appear in your father's dynasty. I'm not a thief. There's a footnote here. I can't really scroll down the page, but you've heard this before. That there was a Chor Gopa, his name was Chor Gopa, who appeared in Mother Yashoda's dynasty. So Krishna said, why are you calling me a Chor? There's no Chor in my father's dynasty. They only appear in your father's dynasty. I'm not a thief. So now, Mother Yashoda smiled. She said, how was the churning pot of yogurt broken then? Huh? How was it broken, Krishna? Tell me. And Krishna said, well, that is the punishment given by the Supreme Lord. And then Yashoda Maya, and who fed the butter to the monkeys? Krishna. He who has made the monkeys feeds the monkeys. Then Mother Maya, Yashoda Maya, she's angry now, but she's laughing. Now tell me the truth. How did the butter pot break? Krishna, now crying, Krishna's crying. You jumped up in a hurry to pacify the milk that was boiling over. And you were so flustered that your heavy anklets struck the pot and it broke. So tell me, how am I to blame for this? Yashoda Maya, okay. In that case, tell me how you come to have butter on your face. And Krishna says, oh Maya, every day a monkey comes and he puts his hand in the pot to eat the butter. But today I caught him. And he pulled out his hand and began to run away. But the butter on his hand got smeared on my face. Now tell me honestly, am I at fault for this? But still you call me a thief and you want to beat me. Yashoda Maya, O you who are the king of those skilled in argument, O friend of the monkeys, now I shall punish you by binding you and your ally, the grinding mortar, together. Then after a great deal of endeavor, by the mercy of Bhagavan, she tied Krishna to the grinding mortar. She went inside to get on with her household duties. Then dragging the grinding mortar with his little friends, Balakrishna began to crawl through the gap between the twin Arjun trees which stood before the entrance of the house, and at the mere touch of the grinding mortar, both trees came crashing down with the most terrific thundering sound. All the Brajbasis, wherever they were, they heard the sound. They came running. Nanda Baba, Yashoda Maya also arrived there. And when Yashoda Maya saw her son between the two fallen trees, she became speechless. Nanda Baba was struck with wonder. He approached his son and he took him in his lap. And seeing his father, Krishna began to weep very loudly. Then Nanda Baba gently caressed Krishna's head and limbs with his hands. And patting him and kissing his face, he said, Lala, who bound you like this? And Krishna was crying and he did not answer. Then Nanda Baba asked again and again. And finally Krishna whispered in Baba's ear, Maya did it. Nanda Baba became very grave. Maya did it? Your mother is so cruel. And then he fell silent. Then Nanda Baba then took both Krishna and Baladao, took Krishna and Baladao in his arms, and he went to take bath in the Yamuna. He employed Brahmins to recite auspicious mantras, swasti vachana, and to distribute cows, etc., in charity, and then he returned home. Now somehow, Rohini Maya engaged some gopis in cooking and serving food to Rama, Krishna, and Nanda Baba. And after honoring Prasad in silence, Nanda Baba went with his two sons to take his seat in the community council. So in the evening, he came to the Goshala, where he fed Krishna and Baladev with rock candy, and he squirted warm milk into their mouths directly from the udder of a cow until their bellies were full. So when Brajaraj had finished taking his evening meal in the company of his two sons, the older gopis of the community, they all came before him, bringing Rohini ji with them. And the two children were sitting in Baba's lap. Rohini ji said, O king, Krishna's mother has not taken her meal. She is sitting in a corner, as silent as a stone. All the gopis in the house are so sad, and they are also sitting silently without eating or drinking. With mixed feelings of sorrow and amusement, then Brajaraj said, What can I do? She should realize that this is the fruit of anger. Now tears flowed from the eyes of the older gopis as they said, Oh no, no, Yashoda is so soft, inside and out. You should not call her cruel. It's not right to use a word like that for her. Then hearing this, Brajaraj became even more emotional. Smiling, he asked, Lala, will you go to Maya? No, no, I will only stay with you, replied Krishna. Then Upananda's wife, she laughed. Who's Upananda? The elder brother of Nanda. So Upananda's wife laughed, and she said to Krishna, You may stay with Baba, but who will breastfeed you? Then Krishna said, Baba will squirt warm milk into my mouth from the udder of the cows and feed me mishri. And then she asked, And who will play with you? Who will you play with? I'll play with father and my elder brother. Then Brajaraj said, Why don't you go to Rohini Maya? Then Krishna sobbed, and he said angrily, I was calling out to my elder Maya to save me, but even she didn't come. Elder Maya means Rohini Maya. Now hearing this, Rohini Maya said softly, with tears flowing down her face, Lala, don't be so cruel-hearted. Your mother is crying for you. Now Krishna's eyes also brimmed with tears when he heard this. He turned around and he looked at his father. And at the same time, Rohini Maya gestured to Baladev to bring Krishna to his mother. Then Baladev caught hold of Krishna with both hands, began to drag him towards Rohini Maya, but Krishna shook him off with a jerk and wrapped his arms tightly around Baba's neck. A shower of tears began to fall from Baba's eyes. as well. And raising his hands, he said, Lala, should I slap your mother? Then Bala Krishna could not tolerate this. He caught hold of his father's hands tightly. At that moment, Baba remembered the anguish within Yashoda's heart. And he said to Krishna, Lala, what if your mother should? He paused and motioned with his hand, meaning, if she should die, then what will you do? And as soon as he heard this, Krishna loudly cried, Maya, Maya, Maya! And he stretched out his arms in the direction of his elder mother, Rohini Maya, and of his own accord, he ran to sit on her lap. Rohini Maya was in tears. She picked up Krishna, who was also crying, and who was entering the ladies' inner chamber of the house. She put him down in Yashoda Maya's lap. Yashoda Maya covered Krishna with her veil and began to weep like a kurari bird. Krishna also began to shed floods of tears. All the gopis who had assembled in the ladies' quarters began to cry as well, and Nanda Baba was crying in the meeting room. The whole atmosphere became submerged in Vatsalya Ras. Now, this is all what Srila Narayan Raj read to Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And then, as soon as Srila Gurudev heard this narration, he began weeping. An incessant flow of tears flowed from his eyes, and other bodily transformations, Ashta-sattvic bhavs, were also clearly visible. I have only seen such an expression of extraordinary spiritual emotions once or twice in my life. So that's the section in the biography of how Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami was rasik and bhavuk. Now, there's one short section in this part 4, which is titled His Pure Character. His Pure Character. So, Srila Guru Pada Padma's supra, mundane character, and his steadfast Guru Nishta. Actually, no, this is, I read this morning, this is very long, so I won't read it now. It's actually written by Srimad Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj. Yeah. Very amazing. You have to read it. His glorification of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. What? Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj. Okay, now this is very short. A hint of his internal identity. You might have heard this before. At the Sri Devananda Gaudiya Math in Sri Dham Navadvip, I went there this morning, paid obeisances. Bhakti Vichar Vishnu Maharaj was also there with a few sannyasis. So at Sri Devananda Gaudiya Math in Sri Dham Navadvip, fresh construction work was in progress on the grand temple, replete with 9 domes. And then in the altar room, which is called the Garbha Mandir, a platform was being prepared for the deities. Then Paramaradhya Srila Gurudev came into the Garbha Mandir to decide on the shape of the altar and the number and the color of its steps. Now Sripad Bhaktivedanta Muni Maharaj and I, meaning Narayan Maharaj, we were with him. You know Muni Maharaj, who took sannyas with Prabhupada. So we were with him. Then Srila Gurudev surveyed the area. He decided on the length, the width, and the height of the altar. And then he became immersed in thought. And then after a while, he turned to us and he said, there will be 3 steps below the altar. The highest step will be blue, the second step will be yellow, and the bottom step will be Aruna Varana, the reddish pink color at dawn. Then Sripad Muni Maharaj asked, why should it be so? And Srila Gurudev replied, the highest step will symbolize the sapphire-like luster of Brajendra Nandan Shri Krishna. The second step will represent the golden radiance of Srimati Radhika, the crest jewel of Krishna's sweethearts. And then he remained silent for a few moments. And then assuming an extremely grave countenance, he continued. The third step will be the color of a Sakhi, which is here referring to a Manjari, who brings all kinds of delight, who brings all kinds of vinod, delight, to Jugal Kishore, the divine youthful couple. She is depicted by Aruna Varana. As he was speaking, his voice faltered, his throat choked, and he became completely motionless. And seeing his extraordinary bhav, we were both struck with wonder. At that time, we could not understand anything, nor could we muster up the courage to ask him. But after he entered Aprakat Lila, the unmanifest pastimes, then we realized the meaning of that hint. The lowest step symbolizes Sri Vinod Manjari, who is Sri Jugal Kishore's eternally playful maidservant. Srila Gurudev had given a hint of his own Siddhadeha, his eternal spiritual form, in a very hidden way. And it was around that same time that I inquired from him in private, did your Gurudev reveal the identity of the Siddhadeha of any of his disciples, meaning Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati? And solemnly, Srila Gurudev replied, he has certainly done so. Srila Prabhupada has given the identity of the Siddhadeha and instructions in the method of bhajan pranali, to some of his qualified disciples. Otherwise, the Sri Rupa Nuga line would come to an end. He also mercifully gave this pranali to me. Then I again asked, will you bestow your mercy and reveal the name of your Siddhadeha? And Srila Gurudev replied, not just now. At the appropriate time, it will be disclosed. So that's the end of this section titled A Hint of His Internal Identity. So we could, of course, go on for hours. There's so much material, and days. We could go on. But time has now run out. The devotees are feeling some voice calling inside of their stomach. So I just want to say a few words in closing today. We are very indebted to Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. How are we indebted? Well, because we took birth in the Western world. We didn't take birth in India. We took birth in non-devotee situations. But one person came to save us. That is Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. But where did he receive this determination? Where did he receive this blessing? that he was able to do this. You know that when he was just leaving family life, left Calcutta, came to Mathura, and soon after he was met by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, who practically forcibly took him to the mutt. He said, "You are like our father. How you cannot be with us? You have to come and be with us." And they were there for many months. He was able to observe our Srila Prabhupada, become extremely intimate and close with him. And, of course, his Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, already was extremely intimate with our Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, who was named Abhay Charanaravinda Prabhu before he took sannyas. That's a whole separate history of their intimate relations together. And during those months, Srila Narayana Maharaj would often tell to him, "Oh Prabhu, you are so qualified. And you have this mission that you must perform, given to you by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Your Guru Maharaj has given you this almost impossible mission to preach this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the English language to the whole world. But you cannot do it unless you take sannyas. You must take sannyas." So and again, he would tell to him. And then one day, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, who would regularly come at least once or twice a year from Navadvip and other places that he was preaching, and he would come and visit Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Math in Mathura. So then when he came there, again he met his godbrother, who had now left family life. And one day there was a meeting held. And Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj spoke to two of his godbrothers. One of them was Sanatan Prabhu, who was 92 years of age, and very, very wonderful Vaishnava. And he had left his business. He was a very successful, wealthy businessman. He had left everything and he came to live in the mutt, like Vanaprastha. And the other person was Abhay Charanaravinda Prabhu, who had now left family life and now he's preparing to execute the mission of his Guru Maharaj. And they had a meeting and a discussion together. And Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj insisted to him that our Guru Maharaj has given you this mission. You are the personality who is going to have to fulfill this mission. And it is not possible for you to do that unless you take sannyas. So in that setting, then our Srila Prabhupada mentioned finally, in agreement, all right, if Sanatan Prabhu takes sannyas, I will also take sannyas. So on the Vishwarup Mahotsav day of 1959, yes, 59, then these two personalities took sannyas at Keshavji Gaudiya Math, with the kirtan being led by Srila Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, the topmost kirtaniya practically in the Gaudiya Math, intimate godbrother and friend of all the great Vaishnavas. And Srila Narayana Maharaj was the priest who performed the yajna and also who dyed the cloth and prepared the sannyas vesh and danda. And then Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Prabhu, he became Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj. And now his determination became so firm. If you look at the photo that was taken on that day, where he's standing up with his danda, and Muni Maharaj standing on the other side, in between them sitting in a chair is their sannyas guru Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. He has the picture right there. Okay? If you look at Srila Prabhupada's expression on his face. Please do that. And what will you see? Absolute determination. Now he's ready. And so, when Srila Prabhupada began to live at the Radha Damodar temple, translating Srimad Bhagavatam, doing very deep, intensive bhajan, then Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj used to come there regularly. And he observed him over many years, how he lives, how he is absolutely Niskinchan Vaishnava. So, it's a long story, but the main point to understand is that his coming to the West was not only his own order being received from his Guru Maharaj, but there was a mixture. Is that not true of the great Vaishnavas in our line, even the personal associates? They have Siksha Gurus, they have certain personalities who bless them, who empower them, and so forth. Our Srila Prabhupada was empowered by Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And now he was ready to execute this mission. And he was so utterly determined, nothing could stop him. I told this the other day. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, in reading his poem that he wrote on the Jaladuta, he said he made himself so empty, Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, of any other desire. Completely empty of any other desire except this one desire, to fulfill the mission of his Guru Maharaj. And he was in such a helpless state, praying in that way. And therefore divine power had to descend. Therefore, I declare him to be Shakti Avesh. The disciple asked him, which Shakti? Nityananda Shakti. And he accomplished this impossible task, 12 non-stop years of traveling the entire world, saving the entire world, giving the books of the Goswamis, the books of the Sampradaya to the whole world, giving the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the chanting of the Mahamantra, the holy names, all the songs of the Vaishnavacharyas. He gave everything needed. And in his final days, he requested Srila Narayan Maharaj to come to his bedside and requested him, you please help my disciples after I leave. And he gave his word, and he said, I promise until my final breath I will do this. And Srila Narayan Maharaj then traveled the world for 15 years, non-stop, and gave what Srila Prabhupada wanted to give but did not have the time to give it. He gave that. And we were very fortunate to be with our Gurudev. When he went to 26 2nd Avenue for the first, I think the only time, maybe he went one other, but I wasn't there. This is at the end of his first tour in 1996. You can watch the video, it's on YouTube. What he told there. And he said, and after tears were rolling down his cheeks and he had to wipe his eyes. He was so emotional at that moment. And he said, like movie reels are coming before my eyes. I am remembering Swamiji. And all through so many years. And then he said, I have come to realize one thing. That my Guru Maharaj and Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj are on the same level. And then he said, sometimes people say, certain individuals in certain institution, they say that, oh, sannyas, it's only a formality. We've heard that before. Sannyas is a formality. You can take sannyas from anyone. any sannyasi. Then Gurudev said, those who say that, they don't know anything. Sannyas is for Gopi Bhav. The sannyas mantra is for Gopi Bhav. That is the meaning. In this way, he was telling that his Guru Maharaj had given this benediction to our Srila Prabhupada. And that was a significant role that he played. So that's why I say that we have to express our gratitude on this day. Because Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, not only saving us once, but saving us twice. He sent our Srila Prabhupada, and then he sent Srila Narayan Maharaj. So, how intimate is this personality to all of us? We can never repay. We can never even dream of repaying such personality. And this will be known for hundreds and thousands and lakhs of years into the future. And Srila Prabhupada wanted that in the disciplic succession pictures, Srila Bhakti Pragyan's picture should be there. It will come about. It's already come about. But on a massive scale, this will come about. The Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, who is the most intimate, such intimate servitor of Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, fulfilled the manobishtam of his Gurudev, who actually saved the Sampradaya after the breakup of the Gaudiya Math. And even Prabhupada writes that in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, that there were two parties. One followed the instructions, the others did not. And our Srila Prabhupada was with Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj and another godbrother in founding the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. So in this way, on this holy appearance day of our Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, we fall at his lotus feet and we hold tightly to his lotus feet and we pray that he will be merciful to us and he will give us just one tiny little droplet of the absolute determination and Guru Nishta that he demonstrated to his Guru Maharaj, that he will bless us, that one day we will also have this. So Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, he is the Lion Acharya. Lion Acharya, and when he roared, even the elephants ran away. So this is our disciplic succession. We are so fortunate. Avirbhav Mahamahotsav Titi Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Shri Kriti Ratna Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Can do one short kirtan. Who will do? Can do.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare
Vibhai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All glory to the assembled devotees.